Warm-up. You don't hear 47,000 people. That's the thing nobody tells you. When the bullpen phone rings and the pitching coach says, "Get him up," the crowd noise, the roar, the drum beat, the drunk guy 3 rows behind you screaming about a blown call, all of it compresses into a single frequency that sits somewhere behind your sternum. Not silence, pressure, the kind that turns air thick. You crouch behind the plate. The rubber mat beneath your knees has been crushed into a shallow depression by years of the same movement. Your movement, your predecessor's movement, whoever had this job before him. You slide your right hand behind your thigh. Signal. Fastball. The pitcher rocks back, coils, and fires. The ball hits your mitt at 96 miles per hour. Your left hand, the one not holding the glove, is balled into a fist inside your back pocket. This is the trick they teach you in your first week. Keep the throwing hand out of the equation. A foul tip off bare fingers doesn't just hurt, it ends your ability to do this job for 6 to 8 weeks, and there is no disabled list for bullpen catchers. There is just someone younger, someone cheaper, standing where you used to stand. You fire the ball back. He catches it without looking. His eyes are somewhere else, fixed on a point in the middle distance, running through the sequence in his head. 5th inning, runner on second. He knows what's coming before the pitching coach says a word. You crouch again. He doesn't know your name. You've caught 600 of his pitches this season. You know his release point better than his own quarterback's coach does. You know that when he's overthrowing, his front shoulder flies open and the fastball misses arm side by 4 inches. You know his slider breaks sharper when the temperature is above 80 degrees. You know he eats the same meal 2 hours before every start. Chicken and rice, nothing else. And that if the chicken is overcooked, he'll mention it exactly once and then drop the subject forever. He doesn't know your name. The phone rings again. He's ready. You straighten up. Your knees crack with a sound like someone stepping on dry wood. You pull the mask off, gather the equipment bag, and walk to the bullpen gate. Nobody in the dugout turns to watch you come in. The anatomy. Every Major League Baseball team carries 1 or 2 bullpen catchers on its staff. They appear in no statistics. They do not appear in the box score. They do not appear on the official roster of players because they are not players. They are something else, a category the sport created and then never named properly. The job description, if anyone ever wrote one, catch every pitcher in the bullpen, every day, at game speed, without protective gear beyond a mitt and a crouch. Warm up starters before games, warm up relievers during games, hit fungos to infielders during practice, throw batting practice when the machine is down. Be available between 7 a.m. and midnight. Do this for roughly 200 days a year. Travel to every city on the schedule. Sleep in the same hotels as millionaires. Eat from the same spread. Get paid between $60,000 and $90,000 annually. The starting catcher, the man whose job yours technically mirrors, earns between $2 million and $20 million per season. He appears in approximately 130 games a year. You appear in 0. When he's injured, the backup steps in. When you're injured, the pitching coach makes some calls, someone's cousin gets a tryout, and the machine keeps running without you. You have been in professional baseball for 11 years. You played Division I college ball. You were drafted in the 28th round, a number that means the organization spent roughly 4 minutes deciding you were worth a phone call. You played 5 seasons in the minors. You batted .241 in AA. You were never going to hit your way to the big leagues. Your arm was never going to carry you, but you knew pitchers. You understood them in a way that was difficult to explain and impossible to teach. You read mechanics the way other people read faces. So they gave you this. You accepted it. That's the part you don't talk about much, the acceptance, what it felt like, what it cost. You were 27 years old, sitting in a folding chair in a minor league clubhouse in Tennessee, and a man in a polo shirt told you, "We want to bring you up, not as a player." You nodded. You shook his hand. You drove home and sat in your car in the parking lot for 40 minutes without moving. You accepted it. The body. It is February 15th, spring training. You are the first person at the facility. The complex smells like wet concrete and fertilizer and the specific brand of rubber cleaner they use on the batting cage mats. Your watch reads 6:22 a.m. The sky outside is still the particular shade of gray that exists before the sun has committed to anything. You stretch for 30 minutes, hip flexors, thoracic rotation, shoulder capsule work. Not because anyone told you to, because if you skip this, by July you won't be able to fully rotate your trunk, and if you can't rotate, you can't throw accurately. And if you can't throw accurately, you are a liability in a job that is already one injury away from obsolescence. Your left knee has a grade 2 MCL sprain from last September that never fully healed. The team physician cleared you. You didn't ask how confident he was. You already knew the answer was probably fine, and you already knew that was close enough. This spring, you will catch approximately 4,200 pitches before opening day. A regular season starting catcher catches roughly 120 pitches per game. You catch that many before noon. The repetition is the thing people don't understand, not the pain. Pain is manageable, predictable, even boring after a while. The repetition is what accumulates. The same crouch 11,000 times a year, the same snap of the wrist on a return throw 400 times a day. Your right forearm carries a calcium deposit just below the elbow that your doctor described as consistent with long-term repetitive throwing stress. He said it like a diagnosis. You heard it like a resume line. By May, your right hand will have absorbed 94 foul tips. Not dramatic ones, not the pitch that clips the mask and rings your skull. The small ones. The ones that crack against your knuckles with a dry, flat sound, like a dropped textbook hitting tile. The ones that leave your ring finger stiff by sundown. You will ice them nightly. You will tape them differently each week. You will adjust your grip slightly, and the pitchers will notice nothing. That is the job's central skill. The pitchers notice nothing. By the All-Star break, you have been in 81 cities or the same city 81 times, depending on how the schedule fell. You've eaten airport food in Atlanta, Phoenix, Denver, and Toronto in the same week. Your concept of time zones has collapsed into a single time zone, game time, which starts when you put the gear on and ends when the last reliever finishes his work. You have caught 94 different pitchers this season. 14 of them were called up from AAA, caught you twice, and were sent back down before you learned their preferred warm-up routine. One of them, a 23-year-old with a breaking ball that drops so violently it looks edited, will be an all-star in 3 years. You caught him for the first time in a half-empty bullpen in Cincinnati on a Tuesday afternoon. You told him to shorten his arm action by 2 inches. He did it. The pitch became unhittable. He will tell that story someday, in an interview. He will say, "The coaches worked with me." He won't be lying exactly. You have a notebook. It started as a legal pad, then became a spiral notebook, then became a system that now lives partially on paper and partially in the Notes app on your phone. Every pitcher, every quirk, velocity trends, mechanical tells, what their fastball looks like when the mechanics are clean versus when fatigue has crept into the delivery. Your notebook is 11 seasons deep. It contains information about active pitchers that no scout, no pitching coach, no advanced analytics department has assembled in one place, because no analytics system has caught those pitchers from 18 inches away for a decade. The notebook has no monetary value. Nobody has ever asked to see it. It exists because you made it exist, the way people maintain habits that serve only themselves. You have not started a game since 2016. You caught 3 innings in an emergency in 2019 when both catchers went down within 48 hours of each other. You hit the first pitch you saw into a 6-4-3 double play. The crowd barely reacted. The pitcher, a $14 million reliever, walked over after the inning, looked you in the eye, and said, "Tough break." It was the longest conversation you'd had him in 4 years. October. It is Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. The stadium is physically vibrating, not the polite, ambient buzz of a mid-July matchup, but a specific structural tremor caused by 52,000 people standing and screaming simultaneously. The bullpen is a glass and concrete box along the right field line, and through the plexiglass you can see the field, but hear only the collective pressure of noise, undifferentiated, like static with weight. Your team is up 3-2. Bottom of the 8th, the starter is done. The phone rings. The closer is getting up. He earns $22 million a year. He has 47 saves this season. He has been named to 4 All-Star teams. He has a face that appears on billboards in the financial district and in television spots for a truck brand that has never once asked you to appear in anything. Your job right now is the most important thing you will do all year, not on the field, in this box, in this warm-up. You know him. You know that he needs exactly 24 pitches to be ready. Not 22, not 27, 24. 8 fastballs, then 6 sliders, then 4 changeups, then 6 more fastballs. And if you disrupt that sequence, he pitches from a place of low-grade irritation that appears in his release point by the 3rd batter. You know that when he shakes his head before the first fastball, he slept badly. You know that if he stares at your target for 2 full seconds before delivering, the pitch will be a strike. You have cataloged these signals the way a cardiologist reads rhythms, not by checklist, but by having absorbed so many of them over so many seasons that the reading happens automatically, below thought. He steps to the rubber. Signal. Fastball. He nods. 94 miles per hour. You throw it back. No expression. He needs calm. Whatever is inside your chest right now, the October air, the stakes, the fact that if he gets 3 outs, your team goes to the World Series and you will receive a ring that will cost you nothing and mean everything, none of that belongs in your body language. Fastball. 95. Fastball. 96. By pitch 15, he is sharp. His slider is biting down hard at the bottom of the zone. You are moving your mitt to specific locations, 6 inches off the corner, 8 inches below the knees, not because he told you to, but because you know what he needs to see in order to believe he has command. You are the only catcher in this stadium not visible on television. Pitch 22. He bounces a slider in the dirt. You block it cleanly. He looks at you. Is it the grip? You say. He pauses. He adjusts his finger placement fractionally on the seam. Pitch 23. Sharp. Perfect break. Pitch 24. The phone rings. He's ready. He hands you your jacket without a word. He walks to the gate, crosses the warning track, and disappears into the dugout. The crowd noise surges like a wave finding shore. You sit down on the bench. The 2 pitchers sitting beside you go back to watching the field. You take off your mask. 3 outs. You watch the 9th inning through the plexiglass. First batter, ground out to second. Fastball, down and away, exactly where the sign called for it. Exactly where you spent 15 minutes confirming he could locate it. Second batter, strikeout on 3 pitches. The slider, the one that bounced in the dirt during warm-ups, now breaking clean. The hitter swings through it by 8 inches and looks genuinely confused, the way batters look when a pitch executes better than their anticipation, which was already built to account for something good. Third batter, a left-handed hitter. Career .311 average against right-handed pitching. He works the count to 2-2. He's been fouling pitches off, not getting under them, not missing them cleanly, just staying alive. You are standing at the plexiglass now. 1 pitch, 97 miles per hour, riding up at the armpit. The hitter's front shoulder pulls open a fraction too early. He swings at where the pitch was going, not where it arrives. The ball reaches the backup catcher, the one behind the plate during actual games, with a sound like a door slamming in an empty hallway. The field turns into a celebration you are watching through glass. The closer's arms go up. He is immediately buried under infielders. The starting catcher sprints from behind the plate and leaps at him, wrapping both arms around his neck. The bullpen empties. Everyone runs. You watch men you work alongside every day become myths in real time. You don't run. Your role in this moment was completed 22 minutes ago on pitch 24 in a concrete box that 52,000 people walked past without once looking through the window. What stays? The clubhouse is chaos. Champagne, men in their 30s behaving like children, which is not an insult. It is the only sane response to something that took 12 years to achieve. You are in the equipment room, sorting gear. Nobody asked you to. You are doing it because the equipment needs to be sorted, and because you are not certain where else to stand. The closer walks past the equipment room doorway, heading toward his locker. He is still in his jersey. Champagne is running down his neck. He has the look of someone who has been waiting 11 years to feel exactly this. He stops. He looks at you. The slider came back. He says. You nod. He nods once. He keeps walking. 7 words, 35 feet of carpeted hallway, a decade of proximity compressed into a single exchange. You are not angry about it. You are not grateful for it. You have been in professional baseball long enough to understand that in this industry, credit follows the box score, and you are not in the box score, and the economy of recognition was never designed with you in mind. What you know is this. Somewhere in the 3rd hour of that game, one of the best relief pitches in the American League was losing command of his best pitch, and you asked one question, and he made one adjustment. And 12 outs later, your team is going to the World Series. The proof of your work is in the outcome. The outcome belongs to someone else. This is not a paradox you are trying to resolve. It is simply the operating condition of the job, the way a structural wall doesn't receive credit for the architecture. The wall doesn't need credit. It needs to hold. Your notebook is in your bag. Tonight, in whatever hotel they put you in, you'll open it and add 3 lines. What the slider was doing in warm-ups, what the grip adjustment changed in the break profile, how many pitches it took to stabilize. You'll write it in shorthand, in ink, for nobody. 11 seasons of holding things up. Tomorrow, the series moves. You'll be the first one at the facility.